Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us for Black Ink Cinema podcast.
Hello, thank you for having me.
And on this episode, you have chosen the award-winning Pixar movie Soul, starring Jamie Foxx. But before we get into that, we want to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So, why did you get into stand-up? How did you get into stand-up?
I'm just a big fan of stand up growing up, just sort of, especially the American guys, I think, especially when it comes to like black comedians, there's just more representation out there when I was growing up. So I think we all kind of grew up watching Eddie Murphy movies or seeing Dave Chappelle do stand up, Chris Rock do stand up, Cat Williams, all of these names, and just very very exciting, very animated, and it's like what I loved about it as well is like they were talking about important issues,
Mm,
like whether it's racism, social issues, things like that, but they knew how to make it just funny as possible.
yes.
And yeah, I think that just appealed to me as a young person who's like cared about things, but like also just wanted to have a laugh. Do you
Mm,
know what I mean? So it just seemed like a perfect. It didn't really click as something as a job I could do
yeah.
until I was about 15, 16, and it was clear that like I wasn't talented in anything, that I was
Of course you
nothing
are.
academic.
I find comedians actually one of the most talented because if anyone who's able to make people laugh, I think I'm funny, but to myself. Like well, I
Right.
could get up and, make people laugh. So don't knock yourself.
Do you know what I mean? Because I went to uni and I ended up studying history and politics.
Oh wow.
So like I always think like without comedy, I would have still been interested in certain academic things, but I would be definitely unemployed now because I would not have an avenue to use these skills.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think comedy allows me to take the bits of knowledge that I have or the
Yes.
bits of social interest that I have and apply them in a communicating type field.
Yeah. And you mentioned a few of your influences, I guess, Eddie Murphy, Cat
Mm.
Williams. Are there any others?
I mean, because it's not just stand up. I think it's funny people
Mm.
in general who are able to communicate a message. So I'm saying like Jordan Peele, for example, he did the sketch show Key and Peele,
Yes.
and he proved he can be an amazing director in horror movies.
Yes.
When like or Issa Rae, she had that the sketch show on YouTube,
Mm.
and then she produces an award-winning era defining show Insecure.
Absolutely.
Michaela Cole, same thing,
You're
came
mentioning
up
all my
doing
people.
all the
People I
legends really. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure how what Michaela Cole started. I think she made like plays and stuff, right? Both plays and stuff, and then
Yeah.
chewing gum,
Um,
and then you look at I May Destroy You. I mean, come on, yeah,
yeah, what a variety that she can offer from chewing gum
yeah,
to I May Destroy You, which are just equally amazing to me. So,
yeah,
and like you mentioned, Jordan Peele again, he has definitely redefined horror,
yeah,
which I love, and it's always been one of those genres that I've kind of looked at in a comical sense because I'm
yeah,
like, this is stupid. But it
yeah,
actually puts the fear back into me, like, the old school type of horror movies where it was just like, you're in your house minding your business and
yeah.
some crazy shit comes to you. So I'm very grateful for him redefining horror, especially in the black community.
Yeah, I think that just goes to show, if you are able to be in, if you're able to be funny, it shows that I think you're probably intelligent enough to communicate other messages
Mm,
across the board. Because I think humor is a great way of getting people's attention or getting them to listen to something that they wouldn't normally.
absolutely.
With like I was saying about how the comedians, the American ones, they're very good at conveying important messages that maybe people wouldn't want to sit down and listen to, but it's almost like putting in the medicine in the ice cream
Yes.
in terms of like a tough message, but you make it sweet
And
in
that's
a
one thing I love about comedy, that it's able to educate,
mm,
but not in a kind of like telling you off type of way. Like it's always done in a
yeah,
humorous way, always able to poke fun at something that I shouldn't laugh. When I find myself saying, I
yeah,
shouldn't laugh at that, but I'm laughing, I know they've done the
yeah.
job. So yeah, that's why I take my hat off to comedians and stand up because
Mm.
absolute geniuses.
Nah, I never said I do that. Mine's
No, you're in as well. As well. So you were nominated for Best Newcomer at Edinburgh Fringe Festival, tongue twister, in 2019
Mm,
for your show Black Bears Matter. Amazing title.
mm.
Why did you pick that as your
Oh,
title?
thank you. Um, well, there's a joke in it later on in the show that kind of like sums it all up. But it was kind of like we was saying. I mean, because I kind of was at a point in around that time where I think there were a lot of political movements going on, and being young
Yeah.
as well, I was like, being expected to be involved and care, and I wanted to write a show. It was almost like about apathy,
Yeah.
or like being desensitized to so much going on, and it's like trying to figure out what I care about, and why I don't care about things, or why I behave the way I do. And I kind of wanted to write a show that was kind of like, without trying to make me look like a sociopath, but just trying to like explain like why it is sometimes hard to care about everything when you're overloaded with everything.
Information.
And yeah, exactly. And so I like to think I did that in a funny way. But it's coming out actually on Amazon Prime. So you got the Soho Theatre. I filmed that show at
Yes.
Soho Theatre at the beginning of
Oh,
this
cool.
year, and so they're putting it out next month, 6th of May, so people
That's
can watch that
amazing.
and check that out.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I think the show held up because obviously it's a couple
Mm.
years ago and a lot's happened since, but I think the message of it still
Oh, some of us are still
remains.
traumatized. These
Um,
last 2 years, whoa,
yeah.
we're still coming out of
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like, I just like yourself, too much information overload to the point where I was like, I
Mm,
just cut down the amount. As someone who loves telly and film, I still
yeah.
cut down the amount of like news and stuff like that I was getting because I just found it all too
Yeah.
overwhelming, and I was rewatching
Oh, for
things that
sure.
I'd watched a million times because I knew it was safe.
You know what I mean? There's
Yeah, it's
comfort
comfort.
there.
I know what to expect.
Sometimes you don't want to log into Instagram and then it's just
Yeah,
murder.
like
Just open up, boom. You're like, oh, it's 9:05. Just
it's
starting my
not even
day.
9:05. Like it is 7:05, and I'm seeing someone murdered. I don't. No, no, it's too much. Sometimes,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So,
Let me have a cup of coffee first before.
do you know what I mean? Let me get the crust out the eyes first. You know, let me stretch.
Why
Let me
I'm stretched?
stretch.
Let me
You
even get
know.
out of bed before.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
exactly.
I
Yeah.
totally hear that, and I still think even though people are coming out of it, shows like that will always be relevant. And I kind of wish I'd
Oh, yeah.
documented that period a bit more because so much, like you said, was happening. Life was completely different. Life isn't different is
Mm.
different now. You know how we're living.
Yeah.
So we're still facing the effects of the last couple of years. And so you've been part of many mainstream TV shows writing as well. Do you want to talk about a few of your favorites?
Um. Yeah, I can. Well, like, yeah, I've done a few things. I was on Mock the Week a couple times.
Okay.
That's fun. Couple panel shows, and I wrote for a couple of Netflix like end of year
Oh, okay.
review things for like Charlie Brooker, Death to 2020 and Death to
Yeah. Oh,
2021.
I
So yeah,
enjoyed
those,
those. Yeah.
yeah. But no, but that's always good experience as well. Just kind of being around other funny people and
Mm.
collaborating and just kind of contributing to a sort of those type of things. It's good experience to get for sure.
Yeah, you're also working on Black Mirror. No?
No, 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 I can't really
Oh,
discuss
okay.
these
Cool, cool,
things.
cool, cool,
Can't
cool,
really
cool. We'll
talk
save that
about
for later. You might have to pop back on and we'll have a chat about
what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, yeah.
that. So where can people find you on your socials?
I'm on Instagram. Mainly I got it's Michael Odewale comedy is
Yes.
my Instagram. I used to have a Twitter, but people would tell me my Twitter
Oh
was
no.
terrible because I just all I do is just I share memes and then I just tweet every 2 months like just saying things like I had some good soup today or my hair's growing. That's
There's
all I
nothing wrong
tweet.
with that.
Just I enjoyed it, but I've been told just as content is like it's not really attention grabbing. But I had good soup today, and I want Twitter
Yeah.
to know it, and I feel like it's a good respite between tweets about like
Yes.
politics and
Like
like
I
the
said,
fighting people are
it's a
having
service we
going on.
need. So
Mm.
No,
I mean, I was thinking I might join back and just do soup reviews.
there's your market. There's
I
your
think
market.
so.
Done.
All right, follow me on Michael Odewale at soup, and that's coming. I'm setting up straight after this.
Fantastic. I love that I was part of this process. It's great.
There's a Heinz chicken soup review
Oh, God.
coming, like straight after this.
So, Black Ink Cinema is all about celebrating black TV and cinema. You chose a film that has quickly become one of my favorite animated Pixar movies,
Oh,
Soul,
great.
with the
Mm.
incredibly talented Jamie Foxx.
I'm Joe. I teach middle school band. How'd it go for it? Today started out as the best day of my life.
Why did you pick Soul?
Well, I'm a in recent years I've become like a big fan of jazz.
Okay.
I think especially during the pandemic when we're all just looking for a bit of peace
Mhm.
or just looking for doing some self-reflection. I find that jazz is just great music to just sit and reflect on, eat your soup, and just I think it's good for that. And I just love the way it sounds. It's just great black art form as well.
Yeah.
And I got to find out about some people from the past, like Miles Davis and
Yeah.
John Coltrane and people like that. I'm not like an experienced jazz listener.
Yeah.
Some people they'll be listening like, oh, you can hear the way the saxophone is fighting the trumpet, and I'm like, nah, it just sounds
Sounds
good in
good.
my ear. I don't
It's
really,
soothing.
yeah,
It's lovely.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I've always enjoyed that, and then so this was about sort of like a struggling jazz musician,
Mhm.
and it's quite a philosophical movie
It
as well, and
is.
which is something I've also kind of been interested in myself, a bit of philosophy and just like self reflection
Yes.
and things like that. So the way that they combine those two elements, I just found it really really interesting, and especially with like a black lead and which I don't think I've seen in a Pixar movie before. I think it's the first one.
Yes.
Because Sony, I know they had Princess and the Frog, but that's just Disney. And then she was also a frog for 2/3 of the
She
movie.
was also a frog for the majority of the film, which is my gripe
Yeah.
with that
I
movie.
mean, even
It would
with
have
this
been,
one, he is a black man at the start, and then he becomes an essence.
and then I have to be like, is it everyday deep breakdown of, or should I just be like, you know what? Let me just be happy.
Do
But
you know,
no,
like, yeah,
like, is it everyday turning into an animal or a
it's
ghost?
like because he's black for 20 minutes, then he's an essence, and then he's a cat for a little bit. And I don't want to have my reading into it black conspiracy theorist hat on, but I'm a bit like, hmm.
No, I had to. And we already, like we said, we don't have that many. Princess and the Frog, Into the Spider
Yeah.
Verse, and of course, Soul. The fact that we can name that on one hand and very quickly is a problem in itself. I have to say, like yourself, I'm like 5 minutes watching it, and maybe 15 minutes into the film, I was like, this is not for
Yeah.
kids. This is some grown people
Yeah.
stuff. Like, this is very serious and very like question of life, like what is my
Yeah.
purpose, where do we get our personalities
Wow.
from? I feel like that's such a important question. Are we born with them? Are we passed down by our
Yeah.
parents? Like, is it our environment? Which is all the above, I think. But I found it quite funny how they already kind of gave people their personalities,
Yeah.
and then you have to unlearn things, I guess. Like a few of them were like given insecurity, which I think is crazy. Like,
Like
that's part of
that's
your
now your
personality.
main, yeah. That's your main essence
Yeah.
now, yeah.
I just, yeah, and it's like you kind of have it stacked against
Yeah.
you. If insecurity is part of your personality, now you have to unlearn that
Yeah,
behavior
because I've
and
always
find.
been interested in the sense of like, especially with your emotions, how
Mm,
much of you're not your emotions, or you shouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? Because like
yeah,
anger, like some people you feel like anger is their main trait, or happy is their main trait, but really they're
yeah.
just like you aren't your emotions. You might that's just you at a certain moment.
But some people have chosen to be those
Right.
emotions. Some people are just like, that's just
Yeah.
me. Like, no, it's not. You've chosen to be like that. Let's not, because we can all decide we want to be
Yeah.
angry or, even that mood or mode, whatever. But that's not you. And I think they use that as a cop
Yeah.
out to be like, well, that's just me. Or,
I do feel that way about those people who are always late. It's like, I'm just a late person. It's like, no,
You're not just.
you saw the bus, you saw the bus timetable. That's not a personality trait. You just,
No, you saw the
yeah,
time and you thought,
yeah,
mm,
exactly. So that is interesting because it does make you think of like how much of it is, like you said, like, nature versus nurture. How much of it is
absolutely.
subconscious, or how much are we doing on purpose? How much choice do we have over certain things to do with our own personalities? And that movie kind of brought all of that up as well, and just the idea of also just how to qualify success as well. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, you got this guy, he's put his whole everything into, I want to be a successful jazz artist. Jazz is who I am. That's how I'm gonna validate my existence as a human being. And then he kind of gets that. He kind of gets that success he wants, and he's realized, oh, that's not what makes me a human. I think that kind of resonated with me when I saw the movie over the pandemic. Being a comedian, and especially someone who started comedy young, I kind of have done that as well. I've kind of put a lot of my validation and self worth into doing well in comedy or audiences liking my jokes, and then you have a
Mm,
pandemic where all the work gets taken away, and
of
then you
course, yeah.
don't know where the industry is going to go next.
Almost like you have to redefine yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, what am I outside of this? How do I qualify success or who I am outside of my achievements? And I'll be honest, I still don't really know how to
Mm,
answer that, because it's very hard to detach that from
mm.
achievements. Especially
Yeah,
material
I think
achievements.
we all are guilty of attaching our achievements to our jobs, what we do, what car we drive, where we live,
Mm,
etc. And so I love the fact that they honed in on that and they kind of just focused on that. Like it doesn't matter about all of the material stuff. Like him reappreciating nature and just like the little things like walking. They
mm,
kept on saying the ghost. She kept on saying I'm good at walking and stuff like that. Just like the simple things in life. And I actually think during
mm.
lockdown, a lot of us were reminded of actually the simple things and what's important, and all the other fluff
Yeah,
doesn't really matter as long as you find that
yeah,
kind of, don't mean to sound hippie, but the inner peace and like happiness.
100%. I used to make fun of my friends who used to go on walks
Oh,
for
I
no
go on
reason. I was
walks.
like, where's the just no destination, just
Yeah.
walking. I said I didn't get that, but now I'm kind of like, okay, like, but the thing is, I live in Dagenham, so in terms of nature, it's like chicken shop, gambling shop. Do you know what I mean? It's not nature.
Have
It's
you
not.
not
It's
got a
not trees.
park
There's no
near you?
scenery. But yeah, it's a very very small part, just one circular part.
Oh,
So
okay. One patch of grass, just
yeah. But then even then, like, I think paying attention.
yes.
I mean, oh, look at the design on this chicken shop. Do you know what I mean? Look at how the yellow matches with the rooster.
Someone picked those colors specifically.
Exactly. So appreciating the small things even when you go for a walk, and it makes you perceptive, because even now I try and go on walks, or even if I am going somewhere, I try and go without my
Ah,
headphones. So kind of force myself to be
present.
in
Mm,
nature, yeah, or just listen to my thoughts on shuffle.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just like, oh, this anxiety is a banger. I ain't heard this track in a while. You know what I mean? Like,
See, that's the reason why I went on my walks, because I'd actually find that, especially during lockdown, I was just getting anxious because I guess I wasn't using up my energy as much how I would usually, or
yeah,
have the distractions that I would. So I was just like feel agitated. I'm like, what's wrong with me? So I just go on these like walks, and luckily I've got some nice parks and I found some nice routes. Yeah, some good walking routes that were peaceful and with not too many cars and stuff like that, so you wouldn't have the distraction.
yeah. And it also led me into, like, I started
Mm.
journaling as well. So just another way to get your thoughts down, and realize, like I was saying about not being your emotions, you write something down, and you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, I just feel this at the time, that this is not necessarily
Yes.
me. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah. So yeah, it was a good lockdown in that sense, in terms of beginning the process of finding who I am outside of what I do was
Do
very
you feel
useful.
like you've got more of a sense of that now? Like if
Yeah,
comedy was taken away from you, that you know, it wouldn't be the end of the world because that doesn't define who you are.
Yeah. I think in terms of it led to me going back into it with better reasons,
Okay, yes.
as opposed to going up on stage and needing that validation. Now, obviously, I still want people to laugh, but now I feel like I'm writing jokes from a better sense of what I want to talk about, or performing from a place of this is what I want to say, this is how I want to do it. I don't necessarily need them to be with me all the time. And I think that makes for a better audience performance as well, because you're taking more risks, you're writing more authentically, and you're using silences a bit better as well. I think there's a way to I think in the early days, because I was so needing them to laugh all the way through, I would just be like motor mouth.
Yeah.
And now I think I'm a lot better at sort of using my voice and just sort of letting them hold on for a bit, and so I think it's made me a better performer for sure.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear. And actually, you talking about that moment of silence, some of the great comedians do that so well, where it's just like the punchline drops and then you just like the
Yeah,
audience erupts in laughter.
yeah.
So yeah, I totally get
Well,
that.
talking of jazz, I think I always remember this quote from Miles Davis, where he was like, "It took me many years to learn how to play as myself." So I think I kind of took from that, like, the more you get comfortable within yourself as a person and as an artist, the better you'll get. Um, I think when you're starting out, you are imitating, or you are trying to be your heroes,
Absolutely.
and then you kind of get more unique and do things that only you can do. The more you practice and the longer you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Come on, I know all about sparks. Mine is piano.
I have been here for who knows how long, and I've never seen anything that's made me want to live. And then you come along.
So a lot of the theme in soul is what makes you tick. You know, this is what makes me tick. You have to say this is what makes me tick. What makes you tick?
Okay, well, you answer first. So I
Oh,
kind of have an idea.
that's not how it works. Look, just batting that back to me.
This is a conversation. I believe. This is an interview. What makes me tick? Okay, you have to be more specific. In what sense?
In terms of what makes you get up in the morning, what makes you you?
I I'm someone, I feel like you always need something to look forward to. So for me, it's creativity. Do you know what I mean? It's working on a new joke. It's yeah. I would say it's that sense of creativity, or moving things forward, um, within myself, for myself, or learning about myself, which is quite narcissistic to say,
No, I
maybe.
don't. I don't think so. Actually, I think a lot more people should maybe, you know, get to know themselves, because I think we're all caught up in social media and what other people want of us or think of us, and instead of like, this is what makes me happy and this is what I'm gonna do. One of my favorite things about Soul was the Lost Souls space and realm that they created,
Mm,
which I thought we touched upon it earlier about the insecurities, but I just thought it was brilliant because your passion and like depression can take you to the same place. And I think
yeah,
they hit the nail on the head there, where it was like sometimes seeking perfection can like, you know, be too much,
yeah,
and you can get lost in it and not be in the present and in the now and enjoy people, family, friends, you know, experiences, because you're chasing that dream, which I just brilliant, and trying to get
yeah.
people out of there. Um, that pirate guy, phenomenal, loved him.
Yeah, I think definitely that's why it's good to have other things outside of
Mm,
your passion. Because, like I said, that can be the same thing that can drag you down and drive you mad. So you need to be a
mm,
more filled out human being outside you. As much as we all want to make it, and obviously we all want to, and I think, but there needs to be a part of you that should be okay with not being
yeah,
with not making it in a sense. Not that that should be in your priority, but like in terms of I will still be whole as a human
Yeah.
no matter where I go.
I found it quite funny that it was the hippies that were the kind of superheroes of the film. You know, they were there saving the lost
Mm.
souls, and they meet up with it on every Tuesday, and this is during their meditation to save these souls. I just found that was a very funny and creative way of kind of bringing in another realm of, you know, meditation and things like that,
Yeah,
and also introducing that to kids.
yeah. Pixar have always been very good at sort of communicating these kind of big themes, especially with this movie and Inside Out as well. It's
Yeah,
like pretty big themes that they managed to break down to kids and to adults as well. To be honest,
I slightly found Inside Out a little bit depressing.
yeah,
I was like, it's not one I would go to. I know some people like, oh my God, that was amazing, whatever. I just thought, yeah, she was really bringing me down. I was like,
yeah.
oh God,
She was going through it.
she was going through it for real. Um, One of my favorite lines that stood out was, "Can't crash a soul here. That's what life on Earth is for." Um,
Oof.
I had to rewind it.
Yeah, that's like bars.
But those are absolute bars. I was like, did I just hear that right? And they say you just put it in there subtly. It wasn't, you know, there was no crescendo. But I just thought it was brilliant because Earth is, it's a struggle.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the kind of part of the message. That's why we kind of need each other because it's rough out here in these streets.
In the streets. It really is. And it's funny how what I loved in the film is she was so scared to kind of, you know, live,
Commit to something, yeah.
commit to something. So she would rather not live, and then she doesn't have to deal with it. And then when she did experience life, she was like, oh my God, this thing's amazing. And then she,
Yeah, like
which I
yeah,
thought that was hilarious. I know I shouldn't be laughing at that point, but
yeah.
I thought it was,
Because like yeah, she found the joy in all the small things,
yeah,
and it was him telling her, no, you need a big spark, you need a big thing,
yeah.
and you know his realization, oh no, it is the small things that make a life, that make a person, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which is, and then in the end, that little bit of where they kind of, you know, gave him a second chance. I am not gonna
Mm.
lie, I was crying a little bit.
A little tear,
Just,
a little
just
tear,
one, two, just one, two.
just
Yes, it's just a,
one drop.
yeah,
Yeah, but I thought there was so many just little beautiful elements of the film, like you know the barbershop segment. You know, I was reading about, you know, they really paid attention
I loved that
to that sort of
scene.
thing. Yeah,
It was so black, first of all, and I was
yeah,
kind of, you know, you have a black lead character like this, and just like, for example, the Jordans in Spider Into the Spider-Verse, him wearing the
yeah,
Jordans was very much like, yes, because that's what kids would be wearing right now. Um,
yeah, exactly.
Very much his identity. It's the same thing as like going to the barbers. Like it's a big thing, and when the Clippers, like he slipped up with the Clippers, it was like, whoa, this is huge.
Yeah,
To someone else, it would have been like, it's fine, just wear a hat. No.
yeah, yeah. It was a very authentic moment, and it was kind of nice to see that the care that they put into that, and yeah, I also just, but like why shouldn't they put that care into? Of course they should. Do you know what I mean? So it was a nice moment.
So where do you rank this movie amongst the best of the Pixar movies?
Ooh, I mean like I said, for the many philosophical reasons, that's why I put it high up on the list because it was quite adult themes and
Yeah.
uh, uh but in terms, I wouldn't say it's my favorite Pixar movie in terms of. I'm always just gonna have a soft spot for the Toy Stories just because of the more, you know, it's maybe less pertinent themes, but it's more exciting
Yeah.
and more adventure. But
Yeah.
in terms of just a film that was kind of matching the kind of thoughts that I was kind of going through when I watched it, and just the themes throughout it. Oh, yeah, I'll maybe put it number two, number three.
Okay. That's
Number two,
real.
number
What
three.
come? Yeah, Toy Story
I'll
comes
put
one, I
Toy Story
guess.
number one. Yeah, I mean, I'll put it top number two. Why not?
Okay, lovely. I love that. Do you think it's important to have black lead family films like this?
Oh, 100%. I think, just especially for kids, because you know, the more kids see, the less they'll question it as even it being a big event. They'll just be like, "Oh, this is normal," which is how it should be. You know what I mean? You just grow up and then you see yourself on the screen just presented in normal ways or interesting ways, and that'll just be part of your psyche growing up. And I think that that's really important. Just we want to get to a place where it's not a massive deal. It's just it is what it is. It's part of our regular programming.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we are coming to the quickfire round.
Okay.
I'll ask you a few questions and you just tell me your first thoughts.
Okay.
So your favorite black led animated character?
Joe Gardner.
Have you got a favorite black actress or actor?
Black actor. I like Lakeith Stanfield. I like what he's doing. He's always appearing in some fun movies. I forgot that one he did. Wait, he turned into a bull. That one. He's like a telemarketer. Don't bother. Don't.
Oh, sorry to bother you.
Sorry to bother you. He's getting that. He's always and Daniel Kaluuya as well.
Yes.
I like what he's doing. Michaela Cole. I love what she's in. And yeah, I'll say that for now. I'm trying to think.
No, that's a strong list. So what type of animated character would you like to voice over?
So this is not. Don't have to be an animal.
No.
Okay.
What would your ideal character be?
Maybe like a knight. Some black knights.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. Like a black musketeer type person.
/ King Arthur.
Yeah, exactly. The whole thing. The whole that
Yeah.
period.
Got you. Have you got a top 3 Jamie Foxx film?
A top 3. Like, you want me to name 3 of them?
Yeah.
Do you know what? I was watching the one where he was with Tom Cruise in the taxi.
Oh, yes. Collateral.
Collateral. That was it. So, yeah, he was good in that. There's a comedy movie he did at the beginning of his career. I forgot what it was.
Where his hair's he's got twists and stuff.
Yeah. What is that movie called?
Laugh at me, I can't remember the name of the film. Don't judge me. But
That
I know
movie
what
was just a summer vibe type
yeah.
Black 90s movie. Shenanigans we got up to type movie.
I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, so you got Booty Call, and then what else? Yeah, Django. I guess I'll put Django up there. Good movie.
No, yeah, I like Django.
Yeah, that was fun.
Who was your first celebrity crush?
Ooh. Growing up, I used to watch Fresh Prince, so it's probably either Ashley probably, or Nia Long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure she was my first crush, and I'm not even.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was just yeah. They had it like that.
Yeah.
Growing
beautiful.
up. Yeah.
Your most annoying habit?
I've been told I don't know if I've done it on here. I pause a lot when I talk.
That's not a bad thing. But
I don't know
unless
if
you
I've
pause
been.
for ages.
Yeah, I don't know if I. But then I don't always finish my sentences because I'm pausing to. Again, I don't know if I've done it on here, but then it leads into this weird mumbling thing.
Okay. I mean, me and my sister have got a weird, bad habit of not really finishing our sentences because we know what the other one means.
Oh, see that? Yeah, that's just cute. That's just cool.
So it will just be like, she'll start a sentence and I'll be like, yeah. Like,
Yeah.
she doesn't need to finish it. And I'm like, got you. But yeah. What's the most underrated invention in your opinion?
Ooh, the most underrated invention would be oh, that's a good question. Maybe like the 6-slice toaster. You don't really see too many of those, but the 6-slice toaster, because it's 2 more.
The what?
The toaster, but with the 6 slices instead of 4.
Oh, I was really trying to understand. I don't think I've seen that unless in like the cafes or like.
Yeah, but like I like the idea of you're taking an already good invention and you add 2.
You just keep adding.
Just keep adding. I think that's up there.
No, that's a shout. That's a shout. I love tea, so the kettle will always be like my favorite. Might not be underrated, but.
No, yeah, that's solid, man. Yeah, whoever did that one,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
their soul is resting. Like, you know,
Really
they
proud.
went and they did their job.
They did their job. Food people sleep on.
Food are not enough. You know them when you go them kebab shops and you get them jalapeno the
Oh, I
peppers.
love them.
I'm always
Yes,
like,
the
boss man, give me throw a couple more of those on there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I feel
yeah,
like that should be around more.
yeah. No, absolutely. I ask for extra as well. To
I
be
think I
fair.
might just not. You go to people's houses, they don't have a jar of it. I have a jar.
Oh, okay. You've definitely gone one better.
Yeah, yeah, just have a jar. That might be the best invention. Just those peppers.
So that's the end of the quick fire round.
Hmm.
In conclusion, if you had to direct people to YouTube to see a clip to entice them to watch Soul, what clip would it be and why?
Um, it wouldn't necessarily be indicative of what the movie is about as a whole, but it's just a beautiful scene where he's auditioning to be in the jazz group, and it's just him
Mm.
playing the piano, and then
Yeah.
because he's so in the flow state, like you just see the keys. I think they kind of just move in, and then you see him in the
Mm.
zone, and I think it's a great scene to show like what somebody's like when they've kind of tapped into what they're supposed to be doing, and they're
Yeah.
fully in that zone. Now, I kind of recognize that sometimes when I'm very rarely in that flow state where it just feels natural. I think that's kind of and the music sounds amazing as well. And so I think
Oh, so good. The music's amazing. It's one of my favorite things about the film.
100%. So
Mm.
I think it was done by John Batiste, who like
Yes.
won all those Grammys the other day. Like so, it's really
Yeah.
like they really was a high level production. So I think if
Yeah.
you hear that, you see that, I think you'll personally, I think you're just naturally interested to know like what is this movie about, and just
Mm.
like visually and what the story must be about as well.
I mean, it might not be the most insightful, but one of my favorites is when she's showing Joe around all the different things that she's tried to do
Yeah,
and she's kind of failed at. And then she's got to the point where she goes into that realm and she's like throwing balls at them and
yeah,
like the Knicks lose again because, she messed it up for
yeah,
them. She just playing around with people's like emotions, not knowing that this is real life.
yeah,
Because she hasn't been to Earth and understood the importance of some of these things. I find that quite funny and quite clever as well that someone is just like messing
yeah. Like
with.
your whole, you think it's down to you, and then it's just some outside force
Yeah,
having a bad day. Yeah, that's funny actually.
exactly.
Is all this living really worth dying for?
It is quite a grown up animated film, but definitely one that I would, like there's a few animated films that I really want kids to see.
Mm,
This would be one of them to kind
mm.
of like install it early
Yeah,
alongside Lion King and the greats.
yeah. I think if you're feeling maybe lost about your purpose, or you're too into your purpose and you feel like
Mm,
you kind of need some perspective and take a step away, I think any of those perspectives will be good to kind of watch that movie, and just a movie about finding about what's important really, and sort
mm,
of who you are really outside of anything else.
mm.
Which is quite a big spectrum. Basically, if you're this movie will solve your life no matter what state
Absolutely.
you're watching it in.
I instantly like found myself like, it's all right, just calm
Yeah,
down, no stress.
exactly. It's like a
Yeah,
green tea, a chamomile tea of a movie.
chamomile tea. Yes, that's what it is actually. I totally agree with that. Um, thank you so
Oh,
much, Michael, for coming on the show. I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to you about now one of my favorite animated movies, with the amazing Jamie Foxx.
thank you for having me.
No, you're absolutely welcome. Wish you the absolute best and speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.